The Madden athlete cover curse has been world famous for some time now. The belief with real life proof that if you are on the cover of Madden, something bad will happen to you. We have seen career altering injuries, off-field drama, and horrible on-field performances by Madden cover athletes time and time again throughout the years, but the Madden curse was at its peak in the early to mid 2000s, a time period where NBA 2K had just gotten its start and had Allen Iverson on its cover from 2000 to 2004, a period where no curse for NBA 2K is or was evident at all. However, that has changed. Looking at recent NBA 2K cover athletes, NBA 2K21 gave us both Zion Williamson, a player who has not played a single minute this season, and Damian Lillard, who is also out for the rest of this year, and after spending his entire 10-season career with the Portland Trail Blazers, suddenly might have played his last minute ever with the Blazers depending on what happens this offseason. And the thing is, this NBA 2K cover curse does go a lot farther back than just last year, and it even goes farther than just the NBA 2K franchise as a whole. I think we need to call this the 2K curse because look at college hoops, the college basketball game that 2K Sports developed that at one point went hand in hand with NBA 2K to the point where you could upload draft classes from college hoops into NBA 2K and play with them. College hoops had their first cover athlete with College Hoops 2K3, a game that featured Jay Williams on the cover, the same Jay Williams who was the number 2 pick in the 2002 NBA draft before his career was cut tragically short due to a motorcycle accident. From there, College Hoops would only release 6 games in total, with the last being College Hoops 2K8, a game that had number 1 overall pick Greg Oden as its cover athlete. Greg Oden would play in just 105 games total in his NBA career due to injuries, while number 2 pick and EA Sports March Madness cover athlete Kevin Durant, well, he went on to become Kevin Durant. So is there something to this? Does 2K actually have a curse here? Well, what's up guys, Mike here, and before we jump into this, I want to give a shout out to guys like Dom and Rebound who have done this topic in their own way, but I want to dive into this my way. I want to look at this objectively. I have no stake here, I just want to go through the years and really see, is there some kind of 2K cover athlete curse? Because in recent years, it has certainly seemed like if I was an NBA player, I might think twice about being on the cover, or maybe not. That's what we're here to find out. So the best way to be really unbiased here is to cover every single game. That's really the only way in my head to remain unbiased, and so I will say immediately, Allen Iverson again had nothing wrong with him. He was not cursed in any way. If anything, he had his best season ever during his cover days. So if we do end up believing in this curse at the end of this video, we have to take that into account, but I will say, during this time the Madden cover curse was so famous that I think the door was left open for 2K to have its own potential curse begin with nobody noticing. And Allen Iverson also was on the cover 5 straight seasons. Things did happen to him.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
But really, if we look at the Allen Iverson cover years in terms of the curse aspect, I would say they just provided the ultimate beginning to a potential curse that nobody took notice of right away. Because our next cover athlete comes with NBA 2K5 with NBA champion Ben Wallace on the cover. Because I will say, at the time, this cover seemed like no curse at all. In fact, if you look at Ben Wallace's season in 2005, yes, the Pistons did lose in the finals, but Ben Wallace was Defensive Player of the Year and an all-star. However, the Indiana Pacers may have made their own finals run if not for a small event known as the Malice at the Palace, which was possibly the worst night the NBA has ever seen. And if we watch closely, we find that the events that unfolded, the fighting, the suspensions, the horrible stigma that the night left on the league in general, all of it began when Ben Wallace specifically was not only fouled, but took exception to that foul and shoved none other than Ron Artest. Now, I am of course in no way blaming Ben Wallace for Ron Artest and Steven Jackson jumping in the stands to fight fans, but the seed for a curse was certainly planted here, as if their cover athlete Ben Wallace just does not shove Ron Artest here, nothing would have happened, at least on this night. Catching up with college hoops, TJ Ford was the cover athlete in 2004 when he was the number 8 pick in the draft. TJ Ford would land on his back and suffer a contusion of his spinal cord, a career-threatening injury that eventually would force him to retire after a Baron Davis elbow to the back. As Ford put it after that elbow, "If it's anybody else, it's just a regular play. But because of me and my condition, a simple elbow in the back has a different outcome than hitting someone else in the back." Then in 2005, Josh Childress was the cover athlete and he was the number 6 pick in the draft. Nothing crazy to say about him other than he did choose to go to Greece in the middle of his career, but he was paid big money to do so, so at least he got paid. And staying objective here, I will say Shaq just straight up tempted fate if there is a curse going on, because after gracing the cover of NBA 2K6, Shaq did help Miami win a championship, so no complaints there. But he repeated as the cover athlete for NBA 2K7, and that is where we have some serious problems. In 2007, Shaq would play in only 40 games for the entire season, and the defending champion Miami Heat would get swept in the first round by my Chicago Bulls, who now had none other than Ben Wallace guarding Shaq. The Heat could have avoided a sweep as the fourth quarter of Game 4 was close to begin, only Shaq would shoot 0 for 3 from the field and 0 for 2 from the line in the fourth quarter, and Miami had no chance. He then was traded the very next season to Phoenix, so clearly NBA 2K7 was a bad year for Shaq, which could mean, is this curse an every other year type of deal? Maybe when it first started, because I will say once we get to around 2013 and 2014, the idea in theory behind a curse year really begins to take off. But as for NBA 2K8, Chris Paul was the cover athlete, and just to put this simply, he was amazing. At the age of 22 during the 2008 season, CP3 was not only a first-time All-Star, but was also first-team All-NBA and second in the MVP voting behind Kobe Bryant. Simply put, an incredible year, the opposite of a curse, I would say. But did you forget about the College Hoops franchise? Because College Hoops 2K8 would not only be the last installment of this franchise, but it would also again give us Greg Oden as its cover athlete. Somehow, despite only picking college stars / high draft picks as their cover athletes, College Hoops never had a player who came close to an all-star game. Meanwhile, EA Sports seemed to wash their hands of any sort of curse here, at least basketball-wise, as they started their NCAA basketball franchise with Tim Duncan on the cover and ended it with Blake Griffin. So they had 2 Hall of Famers instead of injury-ruined careers, and EA's game would also give us 3 more star cover athletes in Steve Francis, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Love. So when it comes to the college game, at least, I mean, I'll just say there is nothing at all to disprove that there's a curse here. Heading back to the NBA though, we do have 2009, where Kevin Garnett gives us our first potential NBA championship altering injury. It was KG specifically, not Paul Pierce or Ray Allen or all 3 of Boston's big 3, who was asked to be on the cover of NBA 2K9, and would you look at that? It was Kevin Garnett who was injured specifically. Boston would win the title in 2008 against the Lakers and would lose to the Lakers in the 2010 finals, but in 2009, it was the Orlando Magic who advanced past Boston in 7 games in the second round of the playoffs, with Garnett suffering from a leg injury that kept him from playing. KG was just Defensive Player of the Year in 2008 and finished 3rd in MVP voting that season. It is safe to say that he would have made a major difference in the 2009 playoffs, especially because Boston still won 62 games that year and still, without Garnett, lost to the Eastern Conference champs in 7 games. By the way, guys, before we continue, I do want to say if you are enjoying this video, please subscribe and turn on post notifications, because I do make basketball videos exactly like this. And trust me when I say, if you are enjoying this video, you are going to be enjoying every video that is coming up in the future, because I have some sick videos for you guys, and the goal here is to reach 2 million subscribers. So let's get to it together. Again, it would be awesome if you could subscribe and turn on post notifications. With that said though, let's jump back into the video. But then again, I will say if there is a curse, early on, at least it was back-to-back years. As in 2010, we did have Kobe Bryant, and Kobe was Kobe. He played awesome that year. He led the Lakers to a title over Kevin Garnett and the Celtics. This is, again, not a curse. If anything, it's the opposite. It can be argued that for Charlotte Bobcats / Hornets fans, the NBA 2K curse was well alive in 2011 and 2012, as it was Michael Jordan who was the cover athlete, and he cursed his own franchise by making several questionable draft picks, but staying with recent players and staying with the Bulls here, unfortunately. NBA 2K13 gave us 3 cover athletes, and one of them, in my head, is one of the most cursed players ever. If you've been watching this channel, you know how much I love Derrick Rose, but trying to be unbiased here, I will say for NBA 2K13, Blake and Kevin Kevin Durant were also cover athletes, and they were mostly fine. So if you do want evidence of a curse, we have to look at Derrick Rose. Now, it is awesome to be on the cover of a video game, but it is also a two-way street. Yes, it's awesome for Derrick Rose, but of course, 2K wants their cover athletes to succeed during the season, as they want a very, very recognizable face on their cover, which is why the curse is very alive here, as Derrick Rose clearly agreed to be part of 2K's cover before he happened to suffer not only a season-ending injury in the 2012 playoffs, but one that would quite literally derail his entire career. The youngest MVP in NBA history would never be the same on the floor, and for the 2013 season, he was a cover athlete for NBA 2K, a season he would play in exactly 0 games. Still hurts, but here is, guys, where the curse really does pick up. I mentioned it before, and of course, out of all of the years possible, it was NBA 2K14 where LeBron James was featured as the cover athlete, and after winning 2 straight championships with the Miami Heat, 2014 LeBron had an NBA Finals many considered to be one of the few bad marks on his historical resume. Because while LeBron himself was great in the finals, he did put up great numbers. His direct competitor, I would say, a young Kawhi Leonard, was named Finals MVP as the Spurs not only beat the Miami Heat, but also the Spurs demolished them. In 5 games, the Heat won 1 game by 2 points and lost the other 4 by an average of 18 points. The closest loss came in game 1 where they lost by 15. Then after this defeat, LeBron left the Miami Heat for the Cleveland Cavaliers, a move that Cavs fans of course love and cherish, but for the team that LeBron was rocking on this cover, the Miami Heat, this decision, would you look at that, was of course devastating, as was the season that NBA 2K15 cover athlete Kevin Durant endured. The Oklahoma City Thunder would reach the NBA Finals in 2012 and the Western Conference Finals in 2014 and 2016, but as for 2015, with KD on the cover the year after he won his first and currently only MVP, the Thunder would miss the playoffs entirely, as Kevin Durant played in just 27 games after he suffered a Jones fracture in his foot. Before he was a cover athlete, KD missed 16 games total in his first 7 seasons. In year 8, he was on the cover and he was injured. Back to playoff failures though, after the 2016 season, KD infamously left the Thunder to go to the Warriors, who formed a super team, but during that 2016 season, Steph Curry, much like LeBron James, would find great individual success. However, with Steph front and center on the NBA 2K16 cover, the Golden State Warriors would blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, becoming the first team in NBA history to ever blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. To me, it is extremely interesting that some of the NBA's biggest recent moments are tied into NBA 2K's covers. As you may remember, after some struggles with the Clippers in the playoffs, Paul George went from Playoff P, a nickname he earned for stepping up his game in the playoffs and in clutch moments, to Pandemic P. The thing is though, Paul George's playoff struggles began after he was NBA 2K's cover athlete for 2K17. As in this season, Paul George not only left the Pacers after 7 straight years with the team that drafted him, but also this is how he went out.
Oh, and George slipped, and they'll lose possession. They get it back, miraculously. 6 to go. Trying to get free. George for the tie. Missed everything.
Then for NBA 2K18, not only was 2K forced to change their cover, as their cover athlete, Kyrie Irving, was announced in a Cavs jersey and then was traded before the season even began, but also in the very first game of this season, Kyrie threw a pass that injured Gordon Hayward for the year, a completely freak accident, and then Kyrie himself was injured and missed the 2018 playoffs. Without 2 All-Stars in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, the Celtics still advanced all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they lost to the Cavs in 7 games. To say they could have reached the finals at least this season with no injuries would be an understatement. I will say I think they would have reached the NBA Finals, and then they would have played the Warriors, where they probably would have went down, but still, an NBA Finals appearance is an NBA Finals appearance. At least the Celtics did make the playoffs though, as after his NBA 2K19 cover, LeBron James missed the playoffs on his new team, the Los Angeles Lakers, for the first time since 2005. LA would rebound and win the title with NBA 2K20 cover athlete Anthony Davis providing a second star for LeBron to pair with. However, I mean, come on. Of course, somehow it is Anthony Davis on the cover here in a season that gave us a pandemic, the bubble, and then the Lakers and AD won the title. I have no idea what to make of this, but let's end here with NBA 2K21 because Luka is on the cover of NBA 2K22, and hopefully this curse isn't real at all and he is nice and healthy and fine. As for NBA 2K21 though, like I previously mentioned, we had Zion Williamson, who has since, I would say, ghosted an entire franchise for at least part of this season and now has both been announced as not returning, while he also posts videos of him doing off the backboard in between the legs dunks. As we've seen through this video, it is not just players who can be cursed, it is the teams they play for. And while New Orleans has really stepped it up this year, they've done it without Zion, who is heavily rumored to leave for the Knicks. If you want to know more about that, I did dive deep into the Zion situation. I would check it out. I think it is a very solid video. Moving on to Damian Lillard though, until he ever actually leaves Portland, if ever, who knows, but until Damian Lillard actually leaves Portland, I guess we have to assume he is going to stay loyal. However, what we do know is that since his cover for NBA 2K21, Dame and the Blazers lost in the playoffs so badly that it's hard to find this Instagram post a coincidence. As it reads, "How long should I stay dedicated? How long till opportunity meets preparation?" A quote from Nipsey Hussle. From there, Dame was swallowed into the drama that came when Chauncey Billups was announced as the Blazers head coach. Portland has crumbled this season as they are 27-44 after 8 straight seasons of making the playoffs. Dame's partner in crime in the backcourt, CJ McCollum, was traded, and Dame himself, he only played in 29 games for the 2022 season, and now his future with the Blazers, again the team he repped on his chest for this cover, is completely up in the air. So there we have it, guys. If you are still around, I want to know your thoughts. Comment down below what you think about this curse. Is it real? Is it fake? Is there some in-between area? I will be honest here, I will say that in the beginning of this video, I feel like any kind of curse possibility went back and forth, but then as the video kept going, aka as we kept getting closer to the current time, more and more weird things started happening to NBA 2K cover athletes. Again though, I hope the curse isn't real. I hope Luka is fine. With that said, again guys, if you did enjoy this video, please subscribe and turn on post notifications if you are new. I post basketball videos exactly like this. If you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you're going to enjoy the videos I am making in the future. Trust me on that. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. I mean, personally, I think the one on the left might be more your style, but the one on the right looks pretty awesome too. Click one, let me know what you think. And again, have an awesome day.